Your PS5 should only ever be horizontal. You should never place your PS5 in a straight up vertical position like this. I know Sony says that you can, and I know they got this nice flat base so it looks and it sits just fine, but you are going to kill your PS5. This is your heatsink for your APU, and this is the liquid metal. You can see that it is all pooled to one side, and if we notice, it's the bottom of the console. So as you have your console sitting upright like this, gravity will cause the liquid metal to pool at the bottom because it is a liquid. It's much, much more liquidy than most thermal pastes are, and it's a lot heavier. So what happens when the liquid metal pools is you get a dry spot. That dry spot can also be seen on the APU here. That dry spot is either A, going to cause your PS5 to turn off suddenly, randomly crash on you, or even worse, B, just completely kill your PS5. That part to replace, good luck. So, yes, Sony says go ahead and set your PS5 upright, but do so at your own risk. I am telling you, as the guy that fixes these for a living, just set it horizontally, save yourself the future headache, save yourself the future money, and just have such a better life. I know that kind of looks like crap, but blame Sony for selling a piece of crap that you can't set up right, even though they built it to set up right.
Well, America, this is more proof of companies here that don't really care about you. All they care about is making a profit. You see this Maytag washer here? We bought it back in 2017, so we've had it around, 7 years, 8 years? And it's got a 10-year limited parts warranty on it, on the drive motor and the wash basket. When I first got it, I'm thinking, yeah, it's a Maytag. It should last a while, right? You know, because it is made in America. Well, guess what? 7 years later, 8 years later, whatever. What's 1 year, right? Had to call a technician to come out. He ran the codes and took a good look at it. And the parts, the electronic parts that we need to repair this have not been manufactured for a few years now. So, looks like I'm out of luck.
Planned obsolescence has turned once reliable products into ticking time bombs, designed to fail not because they must, but because companies want you back at the checkout counter. Phones, appliances, cars, things that could last a decade are now made with cheap parts, glued components, and software locks so they die or slow down just after the warranty expires. It's not innovation, it's manipulation. The goal isn't to give you the best product. It's to drain your wallet as often as possible, keeping you hooked in an endless buying cycle you didn't choose. This isn't about meeting your needs. It's about meeting quarterly profit targets, no matter the human cost. This business model is unsustainable at its core. By constantly extracting money from the poor and middle class, who already live paycheck to paycheck, companies are bleeding dry the very people who keep the economy alive. When the bottom finally runs out of money, there will be nothing left to circulate upward. No spending means no sales means no growth, and no growth means economic collapse. It's a slow self-destruction where greed kills not just trust in products, but the financial engine of society itself.
So a lot of our customers are still using the same model from like 35 years ago.
Great. It means we got the design right. It means that, we built a good product,
it just feels like,
it's a long-term customer, I think, isn't it?
You buy something that's good and then like you technically don't need to buy another one forever. And is that good for us? You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like the goal is to create a product that lasts.
Like I'm just trying to think.
That's the value that we add. Like that's that's what we want for our customers.
I know that's when we started the company. I know that we were trying to make good products and things that don't break.
The best products,
and we did that, and that's really cool, awesome, good for us. But what happens when they don't buy products for several decades because of how good the original product was?
I don't see what you're saying.
Good is subjective.
I don't really get where you're coming from, man. I'm going to be very honest. It feels like a non-complaint. We're kind of a multi-million-dollar conglomerate. We're probably going to be fine if we just, continue to make good products.
It just kind of feels like a setback. You know what I mean?
Just forget making good products. Let's just it. Let's just build shit that breaks all the time, so people have to come back and constantly buy more of it. Is that what?
That's genius.
I wasn't being serious.
That's genius. Do I have a pen?
No. I was.
Where's the pen?
That was a joke.
Do I have a? That's it, right there. That's it.
That was sarcasm.
Invent
that was
products.
I was joking.
That break.
Please, can we not
We're
do
on.
that?
This
Please,
is it.
man.
This is revolutionary. That's what this is.
In the 1920s, they made a light bulb, and the light bulb lasted 4,000 hours. Then the company comes to realize the lifespan of their product is so long that they actually started losing sales.
Right. 'Cause
Right.
people don't need to replace it.
So then this is where planned obsolescence comes in. They go, hold on, let's make it 2,000 hours. So they did that. They made a committee. They set rules and regulations to how many hours a light bulb can last. For every company, not just ours, for every company.
That's insane.
Yeah, so they made these rules like a mafia. It's insane. And every company that's outside of that union had to send in samples of their light bulb, and if the light bulb lasted more than X amount of hours, they would get fined.
Let's go back in history. So back in 1924 in Geneva, Switzerland, a group of elites met together. Do you know who these elites were?
White men?
Nope, not all of them. I mean, there were some.
Yeah, okay.
They're all the CEOs of these light bulb corporations.
Okay.
And they said, our light bulbs last too long.
They're too good!
And so from that meeting, they came up with a term which they called themselves the Phoebus Cartel.
Phoebus?
Phoebus is the god of light.
Oh, weird.
They got a bunch of ideas.
But they all agreed, all shook on it. Let's cut this in half. Make
Deal.
our light bulbs worse. And in fact, they all had to send their light bulbs to get tested. And if it went over 1,000 hours, that company was fined because they all are like, we need to make crappier products to sell more.
Yeah.
And that term, planned obsolescence, was adopted to basically everything now. General Motors are going to make our cars not run as long, so they're going to replace metal with plastic, and so screws, fastener of some sort that will wear out over time. And that's basically applied to every single product now.
Isn't there a light that's been on for like almost 100 years?
It's yeah, I looked at it. It's called the Centennial Light, and it's been on since 1901.
They're ripping us off!
The lifespan of a laptop.
Don't
or
say the word iPhone because I have complete conspiracies around that.
Oh, that they do updates to slow your phone down, so it forces
and
you
the
to get a new phone.
battery dies like so fast. Yeah, it's taking advantage of the customer, promotes materialism and waste. You know, it's
This
just
happens in
buying and
fashion
buying.
too. When you look at H&M, like the quality of some of the clothing out there, it's not made to last.
Yeah, and if we throw a little Devil Wears Prada into the mix too, is the fashion industry somehow getting these kickbacks of something because they changed the style?
Planned obsolescence hasn't just drained wallets, it has poisoned the planet and sabotaged the economy. Mountains of e-waste pile up every year, filled with toxic metals and plastics that could have been avoided if products were built to last. Resources are mined, factories run, and carbon is pumped into the air just to replace something that didn't need replacing. Instead of a healthy economic cycle where quality products build trust and long-term brand loyalty, corporations have chosen short bursts of profit at the expense of stability. Ironically, if they had made goods to last, people would still spend on services, accessories, upgrades, and innovations, keeping money moving without choking the planet with waste. By exploiting the consumer, they've traded decades of prosperity for a quick cash grab, setting the stage for their own downfall. What they don't see is that the repair industry is quietly sharpening its tools. As consumers grow tired of the scam, more advanced repair specialists will emerge, finding ways to make products last far beyond what corporations intended. The very system built to force repeat purchases will drive people toward keeping their old devices alive, collapsing sales for the companies that created the problem. When that happens, the same corporations that normalize this greed-driven model will watch as the trust, market share, and easy money they once enjoyed vanish. It's the ultimate irony. By making products weaker, they've made their own future weaker too.
Planned obsolescence is just the way business is done these days. I don't even think most inventors of product at this point even question it because so much of the supply chain has just adapted to it. Let me give you an example. 15 years ago, you could remove the battery from your phone. And as it got older or maybe even got wet or something, replace it with a brand new battery. There aren't battery makers anymore manufacturing batteries in that way. So if you wanted to compete in that space, you'd have to kind of start over with a whole new supply chain because the supply chain itself has evolved to make it so you can't repair your phone or upgrade your phone in that way anymore. This is one example of how planned obsolescence just kind of creeps in. And by the way, it's not an accident. From phones to printers, everything has been designed to wear out even a little bit sooner to shorten that consumer replacement cycle. And different competitors may or may not be colluding to that drive that outcome, but they all drive toward that outcome because it's kind of this unspoken nicety that everything wears out a little sooner and people got to buy more stuff in that realm. It's everything that I'm fighting against at Lovesac, trying to make stuff that you could potentially have the rest of your life.
Everything around us now feels like a scam because in many ways it is. Planned obsolescence is capitalism at its most short-sighted, squeezing the consumer until there's nothing left to take. Capitalism thrives on growth, but when it's left to run unchecked, it starts eating its own foundation, the people's ability to spend. No system, no matter how powerful, can survive in isolation. Nature itself proves this. Forests don't thrive on one species alone. Trees, insects, animals, and the soil all depend on each other in a balanced exchange. Remove one part of the system, and the whole ecosystem starts to collapse. When one system dominates and refuses to work with others, it burns through resources, human and natural, until there's nothing left. And that's exactly where we're headed if we keep treating everything we touch as disposable.